Supposed to make everything easier, remember? It'll reduce all our paperwork too, remember that?
Paperless society.
Yeah. Let's think of all the savings of
We still
paper.
kill a lot of trees.
Yeah, 10 times what we used to.
Just look at what I have
It's funny, anytime I fill out something with the FAA, they,
here.
So we,
Gonna help.
I will open this meeting of the DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is November 18th, 2024. So off we go, Dottie, what you got?
Okay, well, first of all, we had everything from $10,000 to, this one, which is $4,000 for much more than we even bargained for. They have all kinds of tools to help us with, to help us create some job descriptions, an employee handbook builder, although we'll need to be reviewing our employee handbook soon enough, so that should be helpful. This total compensation statement builder, which is something that Morgan used their sample. And yes, there's a lot of data entry because we can't necessarily pull everything directly from Lao. And that's our payroll system. And we had asked them if they could do something like that for us. Yeah, that's not in their wheelhouse to do. So they were the logical suspects. There are some trainings that we could add to things that aren't covered through IPEP. Not necessarily safety things, but more leadership development, helping our department heads with performance evaluations and doing a lot of, the trainings that we need to, helping us with the anti-harassment and HIPAA training, just a bunch of other trainings that are not really in other vendors that we have. So anyway, I have the money in my budget, but we need the commissioners to execute this agreement. It is $4,000. It's for an entire year for all of these benefits. We think after looking at them and after the job classification subcommittee having looked at this and my being asked just about every time that I see a couple of our members on that job classification subcommittee, hey, so have you sent out those, compensation statements yet? No, because we haven't done this yet. So anyway, that's what we have here. We are hoping that you guys agree, and we'd like to do those fall sometime the beginning of the year so that we can gather up all the information that we can through Lao and through our payroll system so that we can get those out to our employees, and hopefully they will understand a bit of more of the benefits that the county actually offers and how much it costs, because a lot of our employees don't really understand that an employee only for the health plan, it's about $80 a month for the employee only that they pay. The county really pays $500. And so I just think that, and so did the job classification subcommittee, just felt that, when it comes to, the wage studies that we've done and council is, when they work with wages and salaries, try to give the employees a little bit more education on what they're getting, the bang for their buck.
Comments?
what exactly is it they do? I listened, they just give me a nutshell. What exactly are they doing for you? Just as an overview.
With, well, besides the compensation?
Yeah.
Okay. They do have tools that we can use to help us review our employee handbook.
Okay.
That would be great because we do need to do that. We need to also take a look at forms that we create, HIPAA is another issue that they can give us tools to help. We can also, just like we do with our IPEP training, we can offer training to our employees through this portal. It's a portal, it's not a software package.
Gotcha, okay. All right.
This is assuming we will continue with Apex.
It doesn't have anything to do with our brokerage.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
4,000 a year?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that a long-term contract, or is that yearly?
Nope, this is just one year, and then we can decide whether or not it was worth it. We have a certain amount of time to let them know, no, we don't want to renew. So we just have to
Like
keep
it's a
that on our
year-by-year thing.
calendar.
When I looked at it,
Yeah.
I agree with Dottie on that.
It would be nice for the employees to understand what they're
Oh, I
actually
agree,
getting.
especially if it's spelled out nicely and
Yeah.
in real terms. And that's the thing, hopefully it's in what I call layman's terms and not lawyer talk. Or car dealer talk.
No
Either
offense
way, you know.
taken, right? Yeah.
course.
But I mean,
Yeah.
because that is something that everyone needs to understand what their total compensation is.
Exactly.
You can't just look at the bottom line.
Right.
You got to look at the top number.
And when we're recruiting people, people are taking a look at, okay, what am I going to make?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hand
but
that to them.
what do you get in addition to all of this? How much is it worth that an employee does not have to pay for their own short-term disability?
Right.
We think about that. So there are some things that, it was years ago, the insurance company that I had previous life, on all of my, whenever I had a prescription filled, and it would say, without insurance, this would have cost you $500, and I was paying, 10 or whatever it might have been. And you get that light bulb moment that, oh gosh, I guess for what I'm putting into this, I'm getting a much more out.
Yeah. I like the idea.
Should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the 1 year thing. If it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
work out,
Yeah.
We don't have to go second year.
Well, we'll just see just how much we can get out
Yeah.
of this. Morgan and I have talked about it. We just think that they have some really neat things, and timing and trying to push it out to our employees, and once again to our to our managers for some leadership training that is really necessary.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the subscription for a year to, what's it called again?
Let's see. What do they actually call it? It's. Oh, for
It's an
goodness
amendment.
It's
an amendment
Apex.
to the Apex agreement that we currently have.
Okay, it's just an amendment to the Apex agreement.
Yeah.
To add this service to
Yeah.
it.
Correct.
Yeah, that's my motion.
Learning management system.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? I will sign.
Thank you. All right, we have, let's see, our fire procedures that I've been working on from our 2016 safety manual. Most of our departments have internally figured out where their employees will go if there is an evacuation. And then, so we're adding that to the chart that is in the safety manual, although who is going to really look at the safety manual? But at least we have it in writing. But as I said, each department has their own thought process, where they ought to go. And then there's also a chart in here about, well, what happens if it's 32 degrees or below, where do your employees go? So I have talked to all of our department heads, that have, or the buildings, and so just to keep you up to date on that. Still, I'll be ready to give that to you. Now, this is what I thought we would do. We will ask you, after I get it all ready, to approve it. We'll send it out to all of our employees, and we will add that to our safety manual, but step by step. And, but before I'm able to do that, I need to find out if one of you asked the sheriff if he was willing to have his security staff be the point person for the courthouse personnel when there is an evacuation. That was one of those questions we had brought up a couple weeks ago.
I did not.
Okay, all right.
What do you mean by a point person?
The point person, we have, on this chart, we have a contact person. Who's the person to, you know? And so in 2016, the person was the auditor. And we had a discussion that, you know, is that really the smart thing to do? We didn't have security at the time, and it would just make sense that maybe somebody in some sort of authority should have the, okay, everyone, we need you to go out this way, and just be the point person for also then counting noses in the parking lot, things like that.
Do I have a volunteer? Contact sheriff?
What is it that we want to ask the sheriff to do?
If,
We want the security to be that person.
The point person
Instead of me.
instead of the auditor.
Oh, okay, all
Yeah,
right, all right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, isn't the sheriff already the,
No, not on this chart. For the courthouse, it was the auditor.
And is it
Really?
for fire safety?
Yeah, yep, for our fire protection, yes. So if we have any sort of an evacuation in the
I can
building,
talk to Brady, I guess, and,
You want me to just shoot him an email?
yeah, why don't we just shoot him an email?
shoot it.
shoot me an
I
email.
already got
Great.
one started, so.
Thank
all right.
you.
Send an email,
Yeah.
don't
There
shoot
you go.
anything,
Raise your
send.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't need to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's on page 16 of the safety manual, if he needs to know that.
Thanks for bringing that up, I didn't realize that.
Well, you know, it started, you know, these rabbit trails that you end up going down because of our fire extinguisher training.
Yeah.
Which then leads us to take a look at the safety manual. Okay, how many times do you have a fire extinguisher in the manual? What do we need to do to change that? Then there's the fire procedures. Okay, the evacuation procedures. It just kind of keeps rolling. You know. Anyway, so since we're talking about fire extinguisher training, do you have anything to report on that?
Everybody should have the fire extinguisher training added to their IPEP trainings. So the same that you did for the anti-harassment, you'll log in the IPEP, and then it will be under the My Training section. And if you need your password reset, you can just let me know. So, but it's optional, and if you take it and you want to send me your certificate, that would be great. I'll add it to your file, but you don't have to.
Because we do not have a fire brigade, we don't have a group of employees who are fighting fires, this is not mandatory per OSHA. Okay. It is just something that is probably good practice, and I'm sure that insurance trustees will, of course, back me up on it. They feel that, as long as we're doing this fire extinguisher training, that the hands-on can happen, and we've already arranged a few dates with Ben out at the new location to do any hands-on. So we're waiting to hear from a few more department heads about when they would, be available or be able to send some of their employees out. But it's going to be the backup. 911 is your first line of defense. Call and get the fire department in, but what happens if you just have to? And the fire extinguisher is hanging there on the wall. I've never touched one before. I don't know. You're probably more of a detriment if you actually tried to grab it and tried to figure it out. So if you at least know, okay, this is what I do, and can maybe hold it down while you're escaping. And then what happens at home? you know, you have a kitchen fire or something like that. We're just adding value to our employees. So, yeah, anyway, so we're just hoping that, you know, we're hoping that it never has to go into, you know, into effect, but at least we will have people who are trained. So that's one of the things that we've been doing with the safety manual, getting all that done. Something else safety-wise, we just received our the October 31st closing out information from IPEP regarding our insurance or our work comp claims, and we do have 7 open claims. One is still from 2020, hanging on. We have a few others that I'm sure will be closing out very soon. A sprain to the right hand. We had 2 officers who had struggled with a suspect. And so those are on there just in case. You know, it's kind of those lingering things. You want to make sure that the officer is taken care of and nothing, you know, continues. So we had 3 cases that closed in October. And I'm sure, you know, when Kyle gets here and does his presentation that he will mention just, you know, how well the county is doing. Really overall work comp claims. And I mentioned to you the last time, the information after our safety committee meeting that we are just down, you know, so much. You know, let's see, what was it? 25,000, I think, is what we've had this year. And 3 years ago, it was 250,000. So, you know, those are things that we're doing really well. We just have to keep reminding our employees and our department heads that if there is a near miss or something that's not exactly sure, you know, go ahead, write it up. I know it takes a little bit of time, but it's far better to go ahead and get that paperwork done. And then if the employee comes back in a few days, you know, my wrist really hurts from whatever, you know, happened, we'll send you out to OC Health. We'll get that taken care of and looked at. So the employee is protected, county's protected. So recruiting-wise, we have, let's see, a probation officer assistant that the posting is still out there until the end of November. Prosecutor's office still has their attorney needs. We're hoping to talk to the prosecutor very soon about any changes that he would like to the postings, or maybe he has some other ideas for us for recruiting, but it has been just terrible to try to find. And we're going to have two openings in that department since one of his officers is retiring the end of this year. So, confinement officers. Okay. All right. So we filled and a confinement officer. And when does that person start? Oh, already started. Okay, that one. Okay, it was that one. And today, yes, the field inspector for the surveyor's office starts today.
Oh.
So that's good. And they can get started, although, I mean, it's kind of busy right now, but maybe it's baptism by fire, you know, get them out there and do things. Community Corrections has their part-time residential facilitator. That's the weekend person. The IT department, their jail systems administrator. That one is, we've had some really nice qualified individuals with good systems background. And so we're hoping that, you know, Jack and Beso will review those and we can get started maybe doing some interviewing after that. The sheriff's office also had a front office administrator position open. They were doing some changing around in that office, and they had an awesome response to that one. It's a very more clerical position, and so they asked us to cut off the posting a little early because they were just inundated with resumes. So it's a good problem to have, as we've told them, as opposed to the prosecutor position that we haven't really. So let's see, there's that. Performance evaluations, gentlemen, just keep at it,
On my list, Dottie.
Department heads would they would love to have conversations with you guys. It's not just about making sure that, they get a raise for next year, but also, I'm not sure just how often you guys have the opportunity to really talk with some of the department heads. I mean, Ben and I have the opportunity every time you guys meet to have a conversation. You guys are really almost intimately aware,
Let's do that. Let's
Okay,
figure out who's going to do who.
Okay, I think Susan
I got the list.
found the list. Yep, got
I
the list.
have,
Yep.
I have who you guys did last year.
I'd like to
Written
switch
down.
them up, though.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, good.
That way we get different
Great.
perspectives, different people. And
Okay, so building maintenance, Bill did them last year.
Take that one. Would I be meeting with
Larry.
Larry? We're meeting with the head, right?
I will-
Yes, yeah, only the department head.
I have the information that you'll need. Okay, so central communications, Brian, Mike did that one last year.
I do that one.
Highway, Sanderson did that one last year.
That one, Mike?
Mike do that one.
Okay. Homeland Security, Watson did that one last year.
I'd like to do that one if I could.
HR, Watson did last year.
I do HR.
Okay. Sunny Meadows, Bill did that one last year.
I'll take that one.
Veteran Service, Sanderson did that one last year.
I do that one.
Weights and Measures, Hartman did that one last year. And then I have one more. So the last one would be IT, Jack. He is retiring. So I'm not sure how we handle that one.
Who's filling the position?
Base, but Jack probably already did his or is doing his.
Maybe we could just,
So
whoever
not-
did that, just sit down with both of them and just meld the two together. Just
Sure
say, hey,
holds, exactly.
yeah, maybe that would be.
Yeah, I'd be
You
happy
want to do that, Mike?
sure.
Okay, well, Mike do
Okay.
IT.
Okay, great.
And then I will get you some,
Was development services on your list?
what?
Development services, is that on your list?
Yeah, I-
Chris's board does his.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
That's right, yeah.
and
Oh, we hired.
Nellie with Soil and Water,
Water,
her
yeah,
board,
right.
yes.
And health.
Yes, the health department.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will get you guys some information, stuff that I need you to fill out and whatnot.
Yeah. And I assume you have copies of last year's.
No, but I can
So that-
find one. No,
yeah.
but I can find them.
I want to review those before I do this.
I don't know if we ever got yours. The ones that you did last year. Some of them are scanned into their files, but the ones that you had last year were not. So we might not have those, but
Okay.
Great. Glad to get that. Okay. And then just leave it up to you guys to contact the department heads about, a good time.
You
and
need
things
that shortly.
Yes, please, because they need to be to payroll the first week of December.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah. So 2 weeks. We got
Yep.
less than 2
Ah,
weeks.
2 weeks, yay. All right, and I am sure that our department heads will be more than happy to make time for any of you, so that's great. Speaking of department heads, we had talked last time, about our department heads meetings and what was going to happen with the chairperson for the department heads meetings. And I actually heard that one of our council members would be willing to sit in. Doesn't want to be the chair, but would love to sit in. Just another avenue for council to get more information from department heads so that they too are not surprised by, requests from department heads, financial. So anyway, it sounds as if maybe there was some movement on that since the last time we talked.
I had talked to Jim actually about that, and if he's willing to do that, that he could replace Mike in that capacity.
Okay,
Are you still on board with that, Jim? Yeah, Jim Miller.
great. Our next meeting is December the 10th at 8 o'clock. So, and
Can he start before he's actually commissioner sworn in?
Well, I'll chair the
Yeah.
December
You chair
10th meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, Michael still, but Jim
But
is
he can
certainly
attend.
invited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to have that
Little
starting.
break-in period.
Break him in, break him in. And great, that would be wonderful. Something that Sandy Wilcox brought up last time in coordination with these, that active shooter training that she had was the fact that our representative from IPEP did not like the idea of our back door being the employee entrance. And we had a big discussion about it, and not sure if there had been a discussion with the sheriff, but I wanted to bring it up to make sure it doesn't fall through the cracks.
I'm actually going to be meeting with the sheriff, I believe, this week about that stuff.
Yeah, okay. And we,
I've met with the judges and I'll meet with the sheriff.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then, speaking of security, Susan has a copy, and now all of you guys have a copy of the interlocal agreement that between the City of Auburn, who will provide the sweeping services for the 9th Street Annex, and the DeKalb County. This agreement has been reviewed by and put together by Andrew, and by the City of Auburn's attorney, and the department heads who are located in the 9th Street Annex have also taken a look at it and have reviewed it. And so it's from all the other parts, it's ready for you guys to be reviewed and hopefully agreed to so that we can get moving on that sweeping of our building. Since the incident, between mostly probation, but if I happen to be the last person, I will do a second sweep of the building, last person out of the building, just to make sure, just a second, third pair of eyes, whatever. I do know from the Extension Office that they are trying to request that their groups move their after-hours meetings to someplace else for security reasons.
okay.
So,
Are we ready to do that, or need some more time?
I read it, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
we might as well move on it.
Yeah.
I'd move that we approve the interlocal agreement with Auburn Police Department.
And I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second on the floor. Comments?
Where are you paying for this from? Are we paying it out of, I don't know.
Courthouse security. Well, does that make sense or not?
Well, that's what I was going to say, but the sheriff says it's not his building to secure, so.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that somehow Michael Lapham had money to pay for it.
I think
I wish he were here, but I can't remember all that conversation Remember the
You might be
presentation?
right. That does ring a bell.
I think he mentioned something, maybe.
I'll get with Michael. I'm not sure about that because he has a lot of grant funds and other items. I'm not sure that
And
there's
I
a lot of
thought
extra.
Mark Olivero had some sort of funds also. It's,
Yeah, he can, I think Mark can recoup 40% of that.
yeah, yep. Yeah.
What about like building services? Because technically it's a part of securing the building. I don't know if that's,
True.
I don't know that you even want to do that or touch those funds.
Because we're looking at about
I'll
15
just-
grand a year,
Figure it out.
Is that,
dollars a day. I assume it's just throughout the week they're doing the sweep,
It's any day that the building is open for business.
so a couple hundred days a year, and, well, maybe only 10, 12 grand a
Figure
year,
out
but
what
still.
you think is the best account to pull it from, and we'll just move the money over there.
That's what I thought too, but.
Okay,
Yeah, the
Whichever
auditor's
way that
budget.
happens.
why not?
okay. Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
If you guys want to at least sign this one, and then I'll take care of it.
Anything else, Dottie?
Well, that is all that I have. Do you guys have anything for me?
I have nothing. I think we've covered quite a bit.
We did, and we are going to stick around to listen to insurance trustees talk about IPEP and the work comp, and
Okay.
yeah.
All right then, Kyle, you are up. What you got today? Facts and figures,
Yeah. Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Kyle.
Well, Mike,
right?
Mike?
That real quick for you.
Morning.
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for allowing us to come in here and provide an updates. Have overwhelmingly good stuff to report back today, which is a little bit different than where we were the past 2 years in the work comp, so that's good. I wanted to provide an update on a handful of items. First of all, the safety committee that we've been running now, is it quarterly, Dottie?
Yes.
Used to be bi-monthly. So we're going on our second year of that, and from my viewpoint, from our viewpoint, it's just been an overwhelming success for the county. We disbanded that coming out of COVID for a handful of years, what you can imagine, tough to meet in person. That safety committee, from my point of view, has done a handful of really good things. It's got the department heads together, and it's got them understanding kind of what we're looking for safety and incident reports and how to manage and mitigate claims once they happen. So I think it's really got some cohesiveness to get everybody on board, and Dottie and Morgan have really done a wonderful job to kind of lead the charge of bringing everybody together, kind of set some expectations again for what we're going to do when a claim happens, which has been great. And then the other thing we've been able to do out of it, and maybe Dottie, I heard her share with IPEP, some things that IPEP has done is they've come in and done the active shooter training, which I think you just maybe touched on that with them, which has been a really big, we've got a lot of good reviews from that. And stop me if I'm saying too much that's repeating what you did. But they're coming in and they're doing the verbal judo training for just kind of de-escalating situations if there is an active shooter and what that could look like. And not just an active shooter, but just any type of confrontation there is, right? Just trying to talk people down and make it a better situation. So that's been a good success. I'm not sure how many departments have done that now, but it's quite a few. Yeah, and I think more are on the hook to do that. It's about a 2-hour, maybe 2.5-hour training, and there's a lady named Christine that works with IPEP who has decades of experience down in Indianapolis area on the police force, and she comes in and just kind of runs the department through the whole thing, and it's been a really, really good just safety training. I think it's really put people's mind at ease as well as they have something they don't want to think about, but when they go through the training, I think they come out of it feeling a lot more comfortable, if it did, happen. So that's been a really good thing. A couple other items we've done is we've done a fire extinguisher training, or we're getting ready to do a fire extinguisher training. In the process?
We are in the process,
Yep.
yes. The electronic training is out, then we'll do our hands-on,
Yeah.
probably in December.
Okay, good. We've got evacuation plans with building diagrams now in every building, something that people just we need to have, but was maybe a little bit lacking in prior years. And then just like, once again, the overall awareness with the department heads has been a huge thing. So we've seen claims, and we'll go through it here in a minute. Claims have really started to drop as far as the work comp. I can't say that the safety committees should take all the credit for that, because some of that just happens. But I do think it's shed a light onto safety in a way that's been really positive for everybody. As far as work comp here, this first page, there's a lot of numbers going on here, but I'll kind of move us through, hopefully in a way that makes sense for everybody. If you look at the top, those are our claims for the policy year 2024. It's a January 1 policy, so it's almost through a full 12-month cycle. And we've got 29,000 in total claims. That includes open claims that we have. You can see the breakdown there by type of claim that it has. It's pretty well mixed bag across the board. I think what you'll see is there's no large claims this year, which has been really helpful. In the past couple of years, we've had some larger claims, especially with the police force. But IPEP has done a really good job. You'll see 4,000 or 3,000 a lot. IPEP's done a really good job of taking what those doctor's visits are and kind of capping them at that $3,000 and $4,000 amount and making it so that the exposure is not too big for us. The other thing that we've done really well this year is there's been no indemnity claims or lost time claims, and that's huge, right? For two reasons. We want to get people back to work. That's important. We just need them doing their job so that we can keep operating like we want to operate. And the second piece of that is if it's a medical-only claim, only 30% of that claim goes against our experience mod. And our experience mod is what kind of controls some of the pricing and is the calculation that the state does to assess or kind of assign what our risk score is. So that's been a huge bonus for us. If you look down to that next charts, you can see those are the prior 5 years, our loss runs or our loss ratios with IPEP. We had tough years there 4 and 5 years back. And that experience mod is the prior, not including the current year, it's the prior 3 years. So it's always a rolling calculation that they do. So we saw the 2021 year, which was our worst year, 203% loss ratio, is now falling off the experience mod, which is great. So we are going from a 128 experience mod down to a 1.19. So we're going to get almost 10% savings right off the top just because of that. And then the reason why it's still a little inflated is because we still have that third year of 111% loss ratio. So that's how that works. Now our current year is at 15%. So it's been phenomenal. So when we sit down a year from now, unless something drastically changes in the next 6 weeks, which it could, but if it doesn't, we're going to see that experience mod drop well below 1, and all of a sudden now we're going to get upwards of $40,000 in savings at that next renewal, just because we've had some good years in succession. So it's a big deal. And then it's always that 3-year model. So even if we get another higher year pop on, those 2 prior years that are good are going to help keep it low. So it's just something that we're always thinking about on our end. I know Dottie is thinking about it just to kind of keep costs down for the county.
What does an experience mod of 1 mean?
Yeah,
when
good
you're
question.
at 1, what does that mean ratio-wise?
So NCCI is the governing body for work comp, and they pre-do the calculations to know what the expected losses should be for a class of business or a work comp class code. So they have all that data, and they essentially set 1.0 as the industry average, right? So if you're You know, we've seen people be a 2.6 before, where they just have had a lot of claims. And we've seen where people are a 0.4 in some situations if they have a big enough policy that can do that. So it kind of just,
That's the standard
that's the
average.
standard average, yep. And that's designed there where you're not paying any more for work comp, but you're not paying any less, you're just kind of average.
Okay.
Right? It's an incentive for you guys to have less claims at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Yep. So if you turn the page, this is some newer technology that we've had just in the past year with our affiliation with the Hill Group, and it's pretty neat. You can see there in the top right bar graph, we're currently at a 1.19 experience mod, which we know average is 1.0, like we just talked about. If we had no claims for the prior 3 years, the lowest we could be is a 0.58. Right, we know that's likely not a reality, that we'll never have claims, but if we didn't, you know, we could save $100,000 in work comp just like that by dropping that down in half. So it's a big number. Our controllable and how we get to that 1.19, our claims have impacted the experience mod to increase by 0.61 based off the prior 3 years of claims. So the nice piece with this technology that it does is it actually takes all of the claims we've had, plugs it into the calculation, and then shows us exactly how it impacts the experience mod, which is pretty cool. So if you go down to that middle graph there, you can see there's a 2021, a 23, and then a couple more 2021s. That claim for 80,558 impacted the experience mod by 0.15. That's a big swing right there. So all of these 2021 claims will fall off next year, and why we're going to see that drop. If you go one more page, it breaks out every single claim we've had and the impact on it. When I do the math, just looking at 2021, it's about 0.36 of the experience mod. So I think we're taking on about 0.05. So this time next year, again, if we don't have any more claims, we'll drop down to about a 0.9, which is about a $40,000 savings in premium, which is a huge decrease and just a huge thing for you guys as a county, just to keep people safe more than the premium even, right? So that's kind of how the work comp experience mod and claims have been going. Like I said, it's been overwhelmingly positive. The January 1 renewal is coming up sooner than later, and I think Susan Korchik in our office has reached out to you for updated payrolls. Susan, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll get the updated payrolls, and then we'll get that sent into IPEP, and then normally that first week of December, we'll likely have what the renewal is looking like. We do know it's going to drop down a little bit with that experience mod, which is good. IPEP has the corner on the market, for lack of better words, with municipality work comp. They have done it forever, and they do it the best. Not only is their pricing incredibly competitive, all the services they offer is unmatched in the industry. So they're a really good partner, so it would be hard pressed for us to move away from them. That being said, there is another carrier by the name of Bitco that's in the industry that we actually took a look at them last year. They're about 25% higher just in pure premium right off the bat, so it wasn't a good option. We're gonna let them look at it again this year to see if they have a competitive option. If they do, we can entertain that and talk to you guys about, you know, the relationship with IPEP and what would make sense. How much would we need to save to make a change at the end of the day? But we've already got some information over to them, and then once we have the payroll numbers, we'll have a better feel probably end of November what that's looking like from their viewpoint as well. Any questions on any of that? Okay. So I'll work with Susan to get back on the meeting schedule come, you know, whenever that is in December, that makes sense for us to get all the numbers in and then present them to you guys. We're not going to see a drastic decrease this year, but we will see a small decrease in pricing, knowing that next year's the big year where it's finally going to fall off for us. Mike, do you have anything to add or thoughts on kind of the work comp side of it?
You know, historically, the county has gone in cycles. We've had really great years, really bad years, but in my mind, the years that we've really performed well on the workman's comp, I think comes down to two significant issues. It's one is how important is it to the commissioners that we emphasize safety, and then the safety meetings that we do have. You know, I don't, in 21 and 22 and 20 and 21, we didn't have safety meetings. And you can see some of the results from that. I think the safety meeting started shortly thereafter. And I think if we go back for the last 20 years, you'll find that with the help of Dottie and her team and your department heads, we've really performed well with safety because we just talk about it. It's amazing if you're just talking about it, how much it will help the environment, and we just have less claims, it costs less money. So, you know, I appreciate you guys' willingness to support it. It means a lot. You know, you guys kind of drive the ship on it, you know, and you've empowered Dottie to do well at it and make it a priority. So I think we're in a good spot. We just need to not take our eye off the ball. If we can do it forever, to have our committee and whoever, you know, going forward, I think it'd be to our benefit.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good comments to hear that, you know, we're moving forward with this and doing better. And thanks to Dottie, she's had a lot of input in this, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
But she's not going to get a raise, so.
Who's doing my review? Wait a minute.
I think I am.
Want someone else?
Any questions or comments, commissioners?
No?
Nope.
Okay.
Appreciate the exchange of information
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
much. Great communication.
I mean, just keep the slate clean from now to the end of the year.
We'll do our best there. There are a couple of non-work comp items. Just take a minute here to work through with you guys as well. I think if you guys remember when we did the package renewal back in May, which is the renewal date now, the police liability is a difficult coverage to place. Carriers are not making money on that coverage line. There's been a huge spike in claims and then what the payouts have been over the past few years. We historically have not had claims on the police liability. We do have one situation currently where there was one specific inmate at the jail has now 3 lawsuits against the police, 3 individuals at the police. It's really early in the situation there. The defense counsel has been assigned. He's aware of all the information. He doesn't seem overly concerned at this time, but you kind of have to let it play out at some level as well. I know Andrew's been all over this, and he, I believe, is our contact with the carrier as well.
Yes, and there's an Alex Beeson that's on it. These 3 cases are filed, but they are not yet proceeding. They haven't been served. We got notice of it when the federal court gave an order to the jail about paying on the filing fee. And so that triggered, okay, I think they contacted me at that point, and I dug into it and found the federal cases. Once they are served, then the attorney from the insurance company is already ready to jump on them and deal with them. There's also a couple of tort claims from this same person, which are separate claims. They're not lawsuits yet. The tort claims process has to play through on those. The federal cases involve like claimed violations of constitutional rights. Right now, I would say that the defense attorney, would be sort of mildly positive at this point in looking at them. But I do feel like the insurance company we have for the sheriff's department, the prior one and the current one, which I think are different for this year.
Yep.
Both have jumped on claims really quickly, and I just get them over to Kyle or Susan in your office, and they get them immediately out for defense. So it's good.
And we requested with the carrier to have one adjuster on all 3, since it's one individual that's having some of those issues. So I think I think we have it surrounded for the time being. We'll just kind of see how it plays out, but there is some, like Andrew said, some mild optimism that it's not going to be something that turns into a big thing for us.
There's large dollar amounts claimed, but it doesn't necessarily match up to the things that are being claimed that were wrong, supposedly.
Very sketchy.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yeah, so that was on the police side. We've just had 2 auto claims. I just wanted to mention them while I'm here. One of them's not large. It was just a deer hit. Those things happen. It was a couple $1,000 claim. Move on. We do have an insured vehicle that was making a U-turn that struck the claimant's vehicle. That is a larger claim. We're just kind of letting that one play out as well. There's some medical bills that we're digging into there. I think the open reserve for this claim is about $55,000. But a lot of that's open reserves for medical bills that the carrier will work towards to make sure they're legitimate and that, we're paying out the correct amount at the end of the day. So that one's ongoing, and we'll work to get that closed as quickly as possible once we have more information.
Okay.
And outside of that, that is, kind of the work comp update and the claims update, kind of short and sweet, which is a good thing. So,
We like it sweet
Yeah.
and short.
yeah.
Yes. Anything else? Anyone? Any comments, questions? Public? Nope. Okay, I think we're all good then.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yep.
Okay. We have some free time, it looks like. We can get into miscellaneous topics, and we'll start out with payroll.
I will move to approve payroll.
And I will second.
A motion and a second to approve payroll. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Payroll is approved. Claims. I had one question on claims. Let me find it, Susan.
Only one out of that big list?
Okay. I'll ask for a motion. There's a claim. I can't hardly read it. There it is. Felger Hart. There's 2 of them. Come out of ARPA. 32760 and 44430 equipment. One was 27,000. The other one was 1,800. Was that to jail by chance, or
Most
That was
likely.
a chiller, I think.
was it chiller?
Yeah, most likely that's where it was.
I figured it had to be, because nothing else had been discussed.
Yeah, and that was slated to come out of the ARPA funds anyways. Yeah.
Looks like it's 8950 ARPA, 0019 commissioners.
Yeah, it was the installed new large secondary heat pump to county jail and replaced missing circulation pump and replaced check valve on old heating circulation pump for the
Okay.
jail.
Yeah, that's the pumps. All right. Entertain a motion at this point then. Claims.
I'll move to approve the claims.
I will second.
A motion is second. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And then we have the minutes. Chance to read those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve minutes. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, miscellaneous topics. I think we went over the department head chairperson, right?
Yep.
Okay, Sunny Meadows Committee. we ready to discuss that in open meeting?
I think we were just putting a committee together.
Yeah.
I don't,
Kind of a evaluation.
Okay.
Maybe make some recommendations. Just
Okay.
Take a look at things
Right.
top to bottom.
Is that, where's the process on that, or how are we doing on that?
Well, I think we were going to make some recommendations from the three of us as to,
The committee? Okay,
as to who might be on there. I think 5 is probably the good number.
Number, a smaller group for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Can't think of anyone. I just don't have anyone.
I mean, it makes sense probably to have one of you commissioners on it, but not two of you.
right, one,
And maybe one council person or something.
Well, Mike and I aren't going to be here, so it'd have to be.
Oh, okay, well, that's true.
although, and I'm just throwing this out, I've done a lot of background work over the last several years with this. I'm more than happy to volunteer at the time to see it through the rest of the way. So I don't have any problem with that.
as a citizen.
If that's,
Yeah.
if you guys are okay with it, I'm happy to do that.
Sure.
In terms of council, I would recommend Bob Kraft. He's the liaison, and is also pretty familiar, so, for what it's worth.
Okay. Bob Kraft. I don't have a problem with Bob Kraft. He's, he's passionate, yet also a clear thinker,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and very familiar with, he keeps a good finger on what's going on.
Yeah.
Can we entertain a notion or a suggestion that one of the new commissioners might be interested in that? Because I assume it won't start till after the first year as far as meetings.
Yeah,
Do the
I
commissioner?
think that would make sense. It's hard to get things started over the holidays.
Kellen, are you interested in, I can be if need be, but if you,
Otherwise, you create a public meeting situation.
yeah. Do it, okay.
Is that okay with everyone here? Ellen?
Ellen? And then we need 2 citizens. We can just ask around, see if we can find somebody. That
Well,
work?
Mike said he was, Mike,
He'd be one,
Okay.
that's right. We still need 2
You're
more.
off, then that's not.
Yeah.
Commissioner.
yeah, it won't be 2 commissioners, so
We
yeah.
That's
need 2
actually
more.
great.
Yeah. We'll come up with a couple more names.
Good start.
Yeah. Okay.
So they are going forward with the height rate. I don't know if they're going to come and ask you guys for anything. I do know they're going to come forward with the sewer part of the plant itself. I know they're going to come forward to you guys and to Jim and I probably here soon about the transfer stations. There's some issues with the transfer stations. But the plan itself is going forward with the hike rate, and they're going to go with the plan that they have in place.
It sounded like the current containers, the metal containers are basically at failure stage. And,
So they're going to put concrete ones in now, and they're going to, it's going to take about a year, they said, because you have to run the plant while they fixing the plant at the same time and replacing it, so. But I know they have some issues with some of the transfer stations, so they're going to be coming and asking about some of those things. The one by the school is apparently the worst, and be coming and asking about some of those things. The one by the school is apparently the worst one so far.
So they're breaking up the project then? And
Nope.
not,
well, not
Not
really.
at this point.
They're just going with with the time frame on it, they're just going to go forward with the plan that they had. So they increased the rate, they have to have everything by December 18th, I think it was.
Yeah, the final closing, it had to be by the end of the year, either to lock up SRF funding, state funding, or the Okra funding, one or the other. I think it was SRF had to be by the end
Yeah, I
of
think it
the
was,
year.
by the 18th, they had to have it in the permits and everything done. So they're on schedule to get all that taken care of. They didn't want to add any more time to it.
this is for that $750,000 grant that they don't want to lose, basically, is that?
And then the funding for the rest of the project also.
Because the SRF
Project.
gave them a low interest rate to,
So they do have it worked out then?
Yeah, the plan itself's all worked out now. They're going with the plan that they had.
but the rates for the customers
Has increased, yeah.
has increased, and they talked about the poverty potentially of the customers in the area. They feel like they're a higher poverty area, is what they kind of discussed. Isn't that kind of what you heard too?
Yeah, and some of the businesses weren't too happy about it with the lack of transparency, they said. But overall, it's the plan they're going forward with. I just know that the transfer stations aren't part of that project, and they have some really big issues with the transfer stations.
So
And I think they were going to reach out to Susan about coming up and having a conversation one time, I think.
So she did, and that was my fault because I was at conference and told her I'd have to get back to her, and then
Yeah, they want to come
something
make a
else happened and I
presentation.
never got back to
So
her.
they're going with the $5 million project then?
So
6.8.
6.8, yeah.
6.8.
the, the only other thing that I know about this is that Okra, because remember we did the Okra 750,000. Okay, so they have increased. There's a potential to get an additional $50,000 in grant funds from Okra. So Klein Peter Consulting, Mike will be coming sooner than later because since we're the grant recipients, then he has to have your guys' okay that we go after getting an additional 50,000 to go with it.
Are you sure? Because I know there was a confusion at the meeting about that a little bit.
It was, they did,
Yeah.
that's why I clarified at the meeting,
Okay.
was that it was originally 700, they got the 750 with the extra 50 on it.
Yeah,
They said
that should
they
be
had-
750. With
Yeah, but they still, I think they still have to come here to get approved since we're at the grant.
That's what I read in
process.
the,
Okay.
in the email.
I was gonna say, did you read my email?
I did.
Okay.
I did read it.
I'm still trying to figure out how it's double what the engineer's estimate is, and now we
Well-
have transfer stations that aren't even included in there.
You know, and I'm kind of disappointed.
Transfer stations were never included in there.
Right,
Todd.
that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
yeah,
There's
so,
additional problems, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
I wish they had, because I talked to a gentleman down there and I suggested they break this out into segments, 4 segments, and bid it out more to the local contractors. And I know there was concern time-wise about the 750. But my next suggestion would be that the county back up that grant with Okra money. In other words, if they didn't save 750,000 bidding it out separately, that we would back the grant money. I think there's a lot of money to be saved here. I just can't believe, like Todd just mentioned, it's twice what the estimate is, engineering estimate. Something is array with that, with these bids.
That's a big, big miss
Yeah.
on the engineer's estimate. I've never, you just don't see it
Yeah.
that big of a spread that often.
Well, it's kind of like the bid with the same thing with the chiller and stuff in the jail. Oh, well, I thought it was 200,000, it's 600,000. What'd we fix it for? 80,000? I know we didn't do quite the scope,
Well, yeah,
but
but
it's gonna
still.
last.
It's working.
I just think hey, it's their deal. They can do what they want.
I mean,
It's just,
I know that they would love to come in and have a conversation with you guys and talk to you guys too. I know that I know they reached out to Susan. They were trying to get on the schedule to talk and have a conversation. I know talking to them after the meeting, they were all more than willing to come and have a conversation with you guys and see what you guys can help with them down there.
It almost makes sense to me then with the questions that are coming up that the engineering guy, I don't know if it's Charlie, I know I've been
Don't remember
emailing
the
him,
name
but
off the top of my head.
whoever, that their engineer should come too if possible, because you guys are having some questions about why
Explain
is
how
this
it's
extra
double.
cost? They had some explanations for it, but
Commonwealth did the engineering on that, didn't they? Or was,
I believe
Yeah.
it was
sounds
Commonwealth.
right.
Yeah,
I couldn't swear to that, but.
That's Ben that was on this
Okay.
email.
Because originally it was even more than that. They had to scale it back down to the minimum for the state requirements than what they had, yeah. But they can explain all that. They're more in depth into that. I don't want to be the representative for that, so. I know, reach out to them. They'd be more than willing to meet with any of you guys, sit down and have a conversation with you.
I think, and the big question is, would we even entertain the idea of guaranteeing that grant, the 700 or 750,000? Because I think, well, I guess I shouldn't,
I just can't
have
believe
the opinion.
I can't believe there's $1 million worth of excavation work here.
Yeah, I can't either.
Unless
They
they're
claimed that
hauling away
that came in
hazardous
on the first bid was
are they
$1
hauling
million.
away a lot of hazardous material, or that just blows my mind. I mean,
That's what
that'd
we
be
put in
literally
the highway
two or three
department.
months
It is.
straight work for a company with 10 people on it.
We put $1 million in the highway department excavating. That was 10 times the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got involved more towards the end on the bond
Yeah.
side and the rate side.
I get what they were trying to do, they're trying to secure this grant and all that, but sometimes this grant money can cost you money instead of save you money. And that's what concerns me here is, okay, we got to do it or we're going to lose the 750. Yeah, but if you're paying 6.8 and it should have been 3.1, the 750 doesn't matter at that point.
Right, right.
I mean, it just scares me a little bit.
Well, we found the same thing with the covered bridge. We did a $50,000 grant. Time we got it done, got the work done, the price exceeded the grant that we got, the increase.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so it sounds like you need everybody to come.
Yes.
I think it'd be a good idea, especially the engineer to be here and explain. Because that would give us some insight. Hey, dude, do you really think it can still be done for 3.1? Or are you going to go by the 6.8 they're saying? And if he says, no, it should be done for 3.1 or 2 or 3, well, then I think you got to say, wait a minute, sub this thing out. If not, if he says, no, I was wrong, well, then go forward. But
Since the closing is December 18th, it needs to probably be the next meeting you guys have.
yeah,
That's
that'd be
the
next.
concern is
Approve the rate increase and they approve the
yeah.
bond for it.
So they just had this rate increase. I think the people are due an explanation why it's double of what the engineer's estimate was.
And I think one of the factories went up 300% or something like that.
yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
that was huge.
Huge
Yeah,
increase.
that hurts, you know.
yeah. I could see where they would not be happy.
No, I get it. I think there just needs to be an explanation. Clarity, you know. So
Okay,
can we add them to the schedule then and maybe get that engineer in here?
get them on.
I will
Get honest.
contact them all.
Tell them, get in there. Okay. Highway connection fee refund. Just a little comment on that, Ben. He had paid this connection fee for the water, and then he got to looking at it. Something triggered a thought in his mind. That don't seem right. So he went back into it and discovered that we had paid not only the tap fee, inspection fee, but the connection fee. Well, they did not connect it. Glenn Crawford connected it. All they did was come out and looked in the hole. Looks good. So I attended their council meeting last Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday, I guess. And run this by Pam Howard, and she presented, and I talked a little bit on it, and they agreed to refund $5,300. So we got $5,300 back. I think
It was
into
a pretty
the,
positive response on their part
Yeah,
to
yeah.
refund that.
Pam's a reasonable person. I appreciated her efforts with this
Yeah.
project. She was,
well, she didn't realize that they hadn't even
Yeah.
did the connection.
yeah.
So there was a miscommunication. I'll go
Yeah,
soft on this.
That's okay. Yeah.
And the town
Within,
council seemed to agree with that too,
Yeah.
so they went along with that.
miscommunication on their part.
Yeah, they've been good partners, though.
Another good catch by Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben's,
Yeah.
All right, we got this, a little more time. Courthouse benches. Susan, I think you finally nailed down a final,
Yeah,
Dollar.
my email, I guess, was good. They gave me the lower price. They're like, we'll take the higher one away since you don't like it. And they gave me the lower price and put the correct address on it. So $507.14 per bench. And then shipping and handling, of course. And total is $5,394.57
for
for 10.
benches. I'm gonna put some on the south side, too.
it seemed like the shipping was a big issue that kept fluctuating.
The shipping ended up being $323.17.
Well, that's not bad for freight,
No, not at all.
many.
They asked me if we had somebody specific. I said, we don't have a specific freight company that we use, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Larry and Evan are going to install them then?
Yeah, yeah, we got a plan to install them, cut the other ones off. We're gonna do a polishing on those pads and add 2 pads on the south side.
Yeah.
And polish the old pads up. They're in good shape, they just need polished up.
So are we having these, like, just done, like, brought immediately, and then we're gonna put them somewhere until they're ready, or, okay.
Yeah, they'll become all boxed and everything. We can
Okay.
store them, and when the weather gets good, you know, I don't know how long it'll take to get them, but yeah, let's go ahead. Do we need a motion on that final number?
I don't think so, because I think, no, because
Approved
we
the
did,
purchase before.
we already did the approval. I think you just wanted to talk about
Okay.
it, and
You
I
told us a
will-
little over $5,000, was it?
Yeah,
Yep,
5394,
just
57.
under 5,400.
You be ordering those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I'll take care of that.
Thank you, Susan.
Yep.
By the way, the courthouse looked really pretty with the green lights. I had people
Yeah.
comment.
Oh, and
For the veterans,
I see
yeah.
we still have the skins on the outdoor lights.
Yep.
Did they leave them on for a while yet, or? Because I noticed there's white lights now.
Well, they probably got these ready for Thanksgiving into Christmas. I imagine, unless they come off soon, I imagine that those will stay on until the end of November,
Oh, okay, all right.
is what I think. I think that's how,
I recall it being for a whole month.
Is it the
it
month?
is for
Okay.
the whole
All
month,
right.
but
For the
I'm
skins.
pretty sure
Okay, but
that,
not for the lights in the window then.
yeah, that is as they,
That's fine.
Get 'em all
I was
changed.
just curious.
yep,
I had some people comment how it was pretty and they appreciated it.
it is pretty.
Okay. Mr. Parker,
Morning.
good morning. You are up and what you got today? You got a bid?
Oh, yeah. Got some, I don't know if you guys read it, I emailed it to you, you can take one and pass it down. The bid tabs for Bridge 17 that was bid in our
Yeah.
last meeting. I got a copy of the bid tabs there for you guys. I also emailed it to you, but I printed it off that way if you wanted to hash it over, look at it. There's a copy there. Zachrich was the apparent low bidder and went through his bid. Everything was in line, and also sent to Mr. Cruz and had him review it along with USI, and I see no reason why we could not award the bid for Bridge 17 to Zachrich. So I got the paperwork here to move forward, if you guys concur with that.
Any questions, comments?
Hard to deny $115,000 savings from the next closest bid, so.